Switchscape is always a hot topic of debate, but recently it has been sparked a little bit more due to some tweets of Jagex moderators polling the Twitter community if it should be removed in certain extents. But I actually think that Switchscape is irrelevant, and here's why. Yo, what's going on guys? My name's Chevelwick here, and today we're going to be talking about Switchscape in RuneScape and why I think it's irrelevant. I know, you probably think, oh, this is just a clickbait video. No, I genuinely think that it's irrelevant in RuneScape, but we'll get into that. Before we get into it, I genuinely want to know your opinion on the topic. If you're a PVMer, you probably have an opinion on it, so please let me know. Probably even if you're not a PVM, you have an opinion on it. So please just leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let's have a friendly discussion. No shouting, no name calling. Please just be a nice person, okay? Please. Leave a like in the video if you do enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new and you want to see more content. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first. What do I mean with Switchscape? Because I generally think that some people think that Switchscape is literally any switch in any situation that is Switchscape. And I mean, technically you're right, but what I mean with Switchscape are extra switches. I'm not talking about bringing extra like melee and range and magic and whatever to DKs, because you generally need it there because you otherwise can't kill it. Same with Carfight Queen, like you just need 2 styles to kill those, or 3 styles in the case of Dagonoffs, to kill those bosses. Same with bolt switching. I don't think bolt switching should be considered Switchscape because it is just one click. It's just switching to a different style after like a certain HP amount if you're using Ruby and Diamonds, or if you want to use Hydrixes when you're low on Adrenaline. Like, if you think about it, a criminal bolt, like ultimate criminal bolt, would just be too overpowered. That has all the effects. Like, that's just, no. Like, skill should be slightly involved to a certain extent. But what I do mean with Switchscape is any just ridiculous, like quite genuinely, you need to bring 3 rings to any boss if you want to be efficient at a boss. You bring your Ring of Death, so in case you are going to die or you're dying, you know, pop your Ring of Death. Because, you know, you don't want to have the big death cost. But then again, you also want to look for the dwarves for when you get to the drop, but also the Ring of Vigor for the Adrenaline save. Like, that is just stupid. Like, that's generally is stupid. And that goes the same with, like, bringing multiple Essence of Finality with multiple spec weapons. Like, that is just overkill. Like, that is genuinely overkill. But the rings are definitely a problem, in my opinion. I think if I see any discussion, people just always bring up the rings. But I do want to clarify, I am by no means of the imagination a great PVMer at all. I don't bring any switches to PVM. And that actually makes me say that switching is actually irrelevant at PVM. And I actually talked to some high-level PVMers, and they said to me as well, like, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, but it is not relevant if you just want to kill bosses. Like, if you just want to go to God Wars Dungeon 2, if you want to go to Telos, if you want to go to God Wars Dungeon 3, even if you want to go to Raksha, you don't really need switches. All you need is food, familiar, weapons, maybe a bolt switch at most, but that's it. That's all you need. And I think that really leads into why I think it's irrelevant. Like, I feel like the community makes it such a big deal. Like, oh, if you want to kill XYZ boss, you need like 4 rings, 7 Essence of Finality, and 2 combat styles, and whatever. And it's just not the case. Like, it genuinely is not true. Like, yes, I am aware, if you want to get speedy kill times, if you want to get quick kills, if you want to probably make it slightly easier for yourself, eventually when you are comfortable with switching to set items and whatever, so you do more DPS, because that is usually the point of Switchscape. It's just, you know, like, it's all extra. And I feel like that is the issue with the topic at hand. Like, it is extra and you don't need it. Like, you don't need a planted feet switch if you go and kill, I don't know, Arc Laser or something. You don't need it. Or Carapac. You don't need it. Would it help? Yes. It would genuinely help you get the kill. And it might even, like, if especially at DPS checks and boss, it might genuinely help you. But do you need it? No. For example, usually PVMers bring a Coroming switch for when they use Greater Ricochet. I just whacked it on my second crossbow. Is that efficient? No. Is it comfortable? Yes, I can easily solo next and the bosses I use it for. Like, the thing is, like, the point I'm trying to make is, like, you can make it as easy or as difficult as you want it to be. Like, you don't need, it's not a hard requirement. Like, I understand, right? Like, I completely understand. At bosses like Solak or Angel of Death, that is like the end game, high tier, like, end PVM. I understand that you need those things because a little bit of extra DPS can literally get you or can't get you to kill. But that just makes it so, like, I don't get the discussion. Like, I genuinely don't get the discussion, and that's kind of why it pisses me off when YouTubers mention, like, oh, yo, you need D-Switch. I'm like, no, you don't even need a resonance switch, really. Like, you don't need it. Just bring some extra food and then eventually bring it if you want to. Like, I still don't bring resonance switches. Would it help me? Yes, but I'm still getting kills because, you know what? I get a kill, teleport out, go towards retreat, restore everything, and teleport back in. I might get like 2 or 3 kills less an hour, but I generally do not care. And I think that goes over into discussion if it should go or should it stay. And I think Evil Lucario, I mean, I'm fully aware, I'm quoting one of the best, if not the best PVMer in RuneScape. But listen, he says that Switchscape should be skill involved and that it's a choice and a decision and that bosses shouldn't be built around Switchscape. He says that it should stay and that it's just an option for people. Like, if you want to get into the high tier of PVM, you should learn how to do Switchscape. And I genuinely do agree with it on most points. As I said, with the rings, for example, I think it's slightly different. Like, yes, we have the Luck of the Dwarf relic ring, and I think relics in general are a completely different discussion. And I might actually make a video on that as well, because I feel like the archaeology relics can really use an overall, because I am constantly switching out, and it's not one of those things like, oh no, you have 3 slots and you need to be careful on what you use it. No, like, I'm working on God Wars Dungeon 2 reputation as well, so I need to switch things out. But then, yet again, the same day I might want to thieve easy clues and I need sticky fingers. Like, it's the issue, but that's for a different video. But back to the point Evil Lucario makes, like, I generally think that it should be the case. But as I said, with rings, like, you have to lock the Dwarf Relic ring, which I guess is a step in the right direction. It would be so nice if we have a Ring of Death, like, stand or whatever. And even so, like, I completely forgot, you also bring a DPS ring, so you bring 4 rings to any boss. And, you know, like, that would be nice. But same with the Ring of Vigor. Like, give us an upgrade so you can use it on the bank, like the Pontiflex Shadow Ring. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's so inconsistent. Because, as I said, it works with the Pontiflex Shadow Ring. But I don't think Switchscape should be removed in any way, shape, or form. I do think that in certain situations, it could be made a lot easier and a lot more, you know, user-friendly to not have Switchscape. Because that's the same with, like, certain special attacks. Like, I believe that the poll that I talked about earlier in the video, that was about the Eldritch Crossbow spec and the Fractured Staff of Armadyl spec, that it should just be a passive effect, because it makes it so that you do not have to switch, because you might want to use dual hand magic weapons instead of the Fractured Staff of Armadyl for some odd reason, or the Inquisitor Staff, or whatever. And I generally think that certain, like, quality of life, things like that, should be good, but I do also think that you might want to find a balance between for example, for the Eldritch Crossbow spec, like, obviously it turns your Soul Split into damage. Well, what if you do more damage if you use it actively, and if you have it on passive mode, you do slightly less damage, but it's, like, still good, but just, like, I don't know exactly the percentages because I don't have it pulled up, and I probably can afford an Eldritch Crossbow, but that's besides the point. Anyway, like, let's say, like, the Eldritch Crossbow does 30% damage of your Soul Split, and actively, and, like, 15% if you have it, like, passively. Like, that would be a good balance, in my opinion, but I don't think it should sacrifice any skill or whatever, because then it would just become old school RuneScape. Because you just don't have to do anything, you can just AFK. I do think there should be an extent of, like, interactive combat and interactive play when it comes to switching in RuneScape, but I don't think it should be overextended, like with the rings, for example. Like, you have a DPS ring, you have a Ring of Death, you have a Ring of Vigor, you also have a Luck of the Dwarfs, because, you know, you're probably not going to use the relic because you're using DPS relics, and then you have 4 rings in your inventory already. Yeah, that's just, no. And then you probably have an extra weapon for Plant Sweet Switch, and, you know, that's just a bit all too excessive, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it should be improved on certain areas, but in certain areas, it is also, you know, If you want to use it, go use it, but you do not need it. I think Switchscape will be an issue and a proper problem as soon as Jagex starts to balance content around Switchscape. Like, that they have it, so you need to bring those excessive switches, not just an extra combat style, because, you know, another boss won't be damaged like Dagonoff's. I know Dagonoff's are low tier, but you know what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. Like, as soon as they start balancing, like, a set boss around bringing 7 billion switches, that's where it will become an issue. But for now, I generally think it's just a very irrelevant topic. Generally, like, don't complain about it. Like, if you want to complete bosses in an efficient time amount, and you want to do the kills quick as possible, then, you know, bring your switches. And if you just want to kill the bosses, don't bring your switches, because you don't need them in most occasions, and people need to stop telling you that you do need them. But yeah, I'm starting to ramble now, so please let me know in the comment section down below what you think on the topic at hand. This is my opinion, and I think I'm right because it's my opinion, but I definitely want to know what you guys think on it. But yeah, without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. As I said, leave a comment. Like the video, because that stuff generally really helps me out with getting it into the algorithm. Blah, 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 blah. Subscribe if you're new. And my name is Chivalric, and I will see you guys in my next video. Much love, and goodbye.